Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2563 The New World Order 1. After this round of spatial folding, the actual surface area of Earth that has been unfolded far exceeds the understanding of humans in the old era. The mainland appears to have been kneaded, flattened, and turned outwards. What was once a 1,000-kilometer border has suddenly become a 10,000-kilometer-long plain. Countless habitable plateaus, canyons, and heat fields have sprung up around what was once a barren trench. This implies a reality. Even after losing their original homes and being forced to retreat inland, human survivors still have a place to stay. The tragic situation of 800 million people having nowhere to live and sleeping in the wilderness will not occur. However, the place they settled in was no longer their original country. In many countries, the regimes are now merely nominal, and the leaders, upon returning to their so-called new capitals, have fewer than 1 million subjects remaining around them. Not to mention the national education system and the industrial system, even the daily order is on the verge of collapse. For them, being temporarily given a refuge on the map is already a stroke of luck. This is what all races call benevolence. Peel off your armor, leaving only a slit for you to breathe. This has also caused new turmoil within the human camp. Many small and medium-sized countries have already recognized this reality. In their view, living alongside the other ancient races was simply being lambs to the slaughter. Rather than risking their lives on beings who don't consider the sixth generation of humans as fellow humans, they'd rather join a group with stronger cohesion. In other words, they sought refuge with a powerful nation. Within half a day, 7 or 8 surviving regional regimes had submitted the same application to the Hashu kingdom. They hoped to be incorporated into the Hashu kingdom, or temporarily accept military protection and population resettlement. They were playing the same card. We are willing to give up sovereignty, just to let our people survive. However, Jang E, as the highest authority in Hashu kingdom, did not hesitate at all and rejected it outright. It's straightforward and realistic. The current population of Hashu kingdom is close to 100 million, he said in a response to the outside world. Our resource allocation, infrastructure depth, and food reserves are prepared for 100 million people. We can share technology, disaster avoidance experience, and even provide refuge quotas for some high-value talents in extreme situations. But we cannot take you all over and cram you in. We are not Noah's Ark. We cannot save so many people. Our first priority is to ensure the survival of our own people. Of course, there is one very important point in Jang E's words. He is willing to accept immigrants with top-notch technical skills from various countries. We don't need geniuses with special abilities. Those who are not of our kind will surely have different hearts. Jang E doesn't want any day to see signs of other chaotic civilizations emerge within the Hashu kingdom. He only wants scientists, doctors, skilled workers. After this statement was spread, many external forces criticized him for being cold-blooded, saying that the people of Hashu kingdom were too selfish and did not care about the feelings between fellow humans of the 6th generation. Jang E completely ignored those people and simply turned off the communication channel. Just kidding. If you think Jang E is a saint, it just means you have no idea how he got to where he is today. When the negotiations among the myriad races were being withdrawn, Jang E's communicator vibrated twice. A secret message from a deep-sea channel was connected to his private line. It's a familiar name. Jin. Located beneath the ruins of the South China Sea lies the king of the Deep Blue Kingdom, Old Crab Gold. When Jang E thought of his old friend, a smile immediately appeared on his face. The underwater civilization did not participate much in this all-races conference. Although the Abyss clan and the Deep-Sea Kraken sent representatives, they remained indifferent from beginning to end. After all, the seabed is vast enough that they don't need to compete with land dwellers for territory. Giving it to them wouldn't be of much use. He answered the call, and the screen quickly appeared. The familiar deep blue hue was quieter than the ground. In the footage, the seawater is a deep indigo blue under high pressure, as if it has been compressed to an extremely stable state. Clusters of coral-like fortresses emerge from the landscape, their bony structures spiraling outwards and shimmering with a soft, cool phosphorescence. King Kim appears in the picture. He was still wearing the deep sea king's robe, made of layers of carapace and membrane, and his beard, which floated on his chin, slowly spread out in the water. His expression was serious, but there was a hint of warmth in his eyes. "Chaos?" he asked directly. "How did the negotiations go?" Jang E adjusted the receiver to ensure the sound wave translation covered human speech frequencies and casually said, "It'll do. For now, no other ancient civilizations in Hashu dare to touch us. At least not in the short term." Jean seemed to breathe a sigh of relief and nodded slowly. "That's good. I was just saying, if you can't stay there, you can try immigrating to the seabed. After all, this place is very big." He shifted his position slightly, allowing Jang E to see what was behind him. It was a vast seabed that didn't resemble a seabed at all. The vast, dark plains stretch into the distance, devoid of shell fragments or steep trench walls, resembling instead the remnants of some ancient land that has been repeatedly smoothed out. Among them stand one after another translucent domed buildings, like giant bubbles, with light flowing inside. "We're relatively stable for now," Jean said in a low voice. "The Deep Blue Kingdom's territorial waters are vast. The trenches, abysses, and hydrothermal vents are distributed quite widely. Our resources haven't reached the point where we need to fight tooth and nail. The various sea creatures are currently maintaining a semblance of politeness with each other. To put it bluntly," he chuckled, "everyone's still calculating their finances. We haven't reached the point where we're tearing each other apart and fighting for survival yet." Jang E raised an eyebrow. "Sounds good." "No," Jean shook his head, but his expression was not relaxed. "This is only temporary." With the folding of space, the seabed also expanded, and many previously unrecorded life zones appeared. You can think of it as a part of Earth's underground sea being opened up. New thermal pulse zones, new mineral veins, new ancient ruins. Everyone wants these things. All ethnic groups are watching. All ethnic groups are testing each other. Conflict is inevitable. It's just a matter of time.
As he said this, he stared intently at Jang E.
"I'm asking you about the outcome of this negotiation, not just to congratulate you, Chaos. I need to confirm one thing. If chaos breaks out in the seabed in the future, will our alliance and mutual assistance treaties still stand?" Before Jang E attacked the Wulwan Empire, he borrowed a large amount of resources from Old Crab in order to prepare energy supplies. He had promised that if the Deep Blue Kingdom ever needed help, he would come without hesitation. Jang E nodded without hesitation. "Of course. Chaos, would never lie to my friends." Chapter 2560, For the New World Order 2. Jean looked at him, then suddenly stroked his beard and burst into laughter. "As expected of the friend Old Jean the Crab, have chosen, you're truly loyal. I'm willing to be your partner for life." Jang E shrugged and said seriously, "If I say it's true, then it's true. Because we're friends, I wouldn't lie to my friends. However, our Hashu Kingdom is also quite busy right now, and we don't have the resources to open a new front. So for now, you guard your deep blue sea, and I'll guard my land. With you here, I feel at ease. At least no one will dare to sneak up on me from the seabed." Upon hearing this, Jean chuckled softly, like ocean currents brushing against the rock face. "Then I'll speak the truth as well," he said. "If they push me too far one day, I might send some people over there." "Not a refugee," he emphasized. "He is a seed of my fishman race. The inherited bloodline of the Deep Blue Kingdom, the research center, and our most mature space adaptation unit. I don't expect you to support them. I only expect you to keep them from being thrown into the pot and boiled." Jang E nodded. "Of course, I'll say the same thing to you. Let's both leave each other a way out." Jean was silent for a moment, seemingly relieved. Then his smile faded, and his tone became solemn and calm again. One last thing. Chaos. I must remind you. The frozen zone is beginning to thaw. Upon hearing this, Jang E's gaze suddenly turned strange. 5 years ago, the Ice Age began, freezing the entire globe. 5 years later, the world changed dramatically. All races emerged, and even the Ice Age was about to end. Jang E narrowed his eyes. You've noticed some signs? Jean said slowly. The direction of the deep-sea thermal currents has changed. The polar current belt is starting to loosen. The energy density of those frozen faults beneath the ice sheet is decreasing. We have detected a large amount of high-pressure fresh water flowing back. I am the king of the sea, and I am the first to sense the change in water temperature. This is not a small fluctuation. This is a large-scale warming. Jang E's heart skipped a beat. You on the surface will soon see, Jean concluded. The Ice Age may be coming to an end. Chaos. Communication was cut off. The deep-sea image went dark, and the channel was reset to 0. Jang E stood there, silent for a long time. The sea breeze still carried a chill, but that chill felt like an existing chill rather than an increasing one. He suddenly realized that the biting, knife-like coldness in the air was indeed fading. The curve of temperature difference sensing on the outer layer of his armor also gave the same conclusion. The suppression of the extreme cold zone was loosening. The frozen sea is slowly thawing. The Ice Age may really be coming to an end. This is of great significance. Because if the ice melts, the first change won't be the increased warmth and comfort, but rather, the geopolitical landscape will change. Waterways that were originally blocked by thousands of meters of ice were opened, and land bridges that were separated by extreme cold were reconnected. Those sinkholes blocked by ice will be transformed into transportation channels, and those energy veins and relics buried under the ice sheet will be exposed. In other words, not just humans, but all ancient races will be busy. Jang E speculates that the end of the Ice Age was related to the emergence of prehistoric civilizations. After all, many ancient races were not adapted to the Ice Age. After the Creator wiped out 90% of the 6 generations of people, the mission of the Ice Age was accomplished. The 6 regions of Hashu Kingdom were not originally a single, contiguous fertile land. Their controlled areas are separated by ice fields, fault lines, remnants of active volcanoes, and wastelands. Especially after Earth unfolded, the territories of some ancient civilizations were forcibly inserted into areas that were originally adjacent to each other. If the ice sheet recedes, those forces that have been inserted into the conflict may very well take a step forward. They even went so far as to divide the 6 major regions into 6 isolated islands, cutting off all connections between them. We can't let this happen, Jang E thought to himself. After bidding farewell to everyone, Jang E declined the celebratory banquet offered by Morgan and the others. Although everyone's faces were filled with joy, it was clear that they all had very important things to do when they got back. With the new spheres of influence being divided, they need to vacate their territories as soon as possible and relocate their industrial equipment and population. The issue of receiving and resettling small and medium-sized countries that have been annexed also requires time to be documented. Jang E told them to go back to their respective countries, saying, "We'll be even busier from now on. Once you're back in your respective capitals, we'll have a conference call to discuss other matters in detail." The group nodded in understanding and then left. Jang E also opened the dimensional gate and returned to Tianhai City without stopping. On his way back, he could feel burning gazes upon him. Some were fierce, some were sharp, some were greedy. In short, the days ahead are unlikely to be easy. Upon returning to Tianhai City, Jang E's first action was neither to rest nor to celebrate his victory. Instead, it's a meeting. As the highest-ranking military force and leader of the Hashu Kingdom, he needs to immediately integrate the 6 major regions. In the living room of Jang E's villa, Yang Xinshin and others appeared from another dimension. Jang E didn't hide anything from them and directly started a meeting in the chat group of the high-level officials of Hashu Kingdom. Meanwhile, the top leaders of the 6 regions were also anxiously awaiting the outcome of this negotiation conference, and thus responded quickly. The projections of the core high-level executives of the 6 major regions appeared one by one. Guan Longyue, Meng Yuanjun, and Shang Dawen from the Xinjiang region. Ji Chonghai and Han Shanzhua from the Northeast region. Chen Xuanba and Jiang Guanghan of the National Protection Army. Xiao Lai from the Northwest region. Juegua and Luozhua from the Southwest region. Zhu Zheng and Zhu Yu from the Jiangnan region. Li Guangxiao, Xuanwu, Zhu Ke from the East Sea region, and Li Changgong, who is temporarily residing here. The highest combat power and the highest commander were all present within 1 minute. Lu Karen, Yang Xinxin, Su Pengzi, Liang Yu, Deng Shintong, and others from Tianhai City also joined the meeting. Every face was tense as everyone stared at Jang E, waiting for him to announce the outcome of the negotiation meeting. Jang E stood at the head of the conference table and raised his hand to display a new geographical projection map in midair. That image is not the old version of Earth's projection, but a composite image of Earth unfolded. Ladies and gentlemen, he began, his voice a notch lower than usual, but his reasoning as clear as ever. The results of the negotiations are in. I can tell you all very clearly that the territory of Hashu Kingdom can be preserved. Upon hearing this, everyone breathed a sigh of relief, and a chorus of gasps filled the conference room. Upon hearing this voice, everyone couldn't help but chuckle softly. It's too early to be happy. The war is only temporarily over, but there's no guarantee that we'll be safe in the future. We need to make this clear up front, so we don't wait until trouble arises to fix it. Jang E tapped the table, his sharp gaze serving as a warning to everyone. Here we end today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Kindly do also subscribe to my gaming channel. I have to Fina a way to survive.
That's
Thanks.
the today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises.